steps
Okay,
taken.
here we are. All right. Here we are on the good of the whole connection field, the trust frequency embodied, and we're transitioning now into the dance of souls, which is a application of the trust frequency principles to our relationships with ourselves and others. So it's really a wonderful process to come to understand the conscious, loving, abundant nature of the universe and our place in it, and how our journey to wholeness takes us on quite a ride with our relationships. So we are going to talk about that for a bit. We're going to review our assumptions about the nature of the universe. We're going to ask you how receptive you are to change. So we'll take you on a little journey. And Andrew is here with me. And we've written the book, The Trust Frequency, 10 Assumptions for a New Paradigm together. And Wowza Alyssa Lodge will be taking us on an embodiment practice to bring our bodies into it, because it's key that we walk the walk now on the planet as the pandemic is taking us into this new way of being. The things are falling away that we used to think were real and important, because something new is being birthed, and we have to bring that forth through our consciousness and our actions on the planet. So do you have any thoughts on that, Andrew?
Yeah, I'd like to rephrase what Connie just said and just put it in the context of this series of Monday evening classes, if you will, or conversations or presentations. So we've spent the last 14 weeks together. And for those of you who have hung in with us on Facebook Live and on Zoom, we would like to thank you for that. It's an honor to be sharing these amazing thoughts with you and the feedback you bring to us. Thank you so much. And today is a segue moment, because we've completed the 12-module trust frequency presentation, and we're beginning the 6-module Dance of Souls presentation. And the Dance of Souls, it's Connie's concept and idea. It's absolutely, in my opinion, absolutely extraordinary. And it is a practical application of the trust frequency work. So one could say, well, the trust frequency is very transformative and very, very big thinking and very relevant to all of our lives. But now let's bring that relevance all the way home into our hearts right here. I'm sitting here next to the person who I adore and who is my life partner. For example, a relationship. So the Dance of Souls is about relationships, intimate relationships, love relationships sometimes, or relationships with our bosses, our children, our parents, and right. And most important of all, our relationship with
ourselves.
Yep.
That's the key.
We are all in relationship. We are in relationship with the conscious, loving universe. You could call that God if you like. We're all in relationship, as the Lakota say, Matakwihasan. We are all related. We are all connected. Quantum science shows that as well. We are all profoundly entangled or interconnected. So why are we such a mess, so many of us? Well, and what can we do about it? That's the nature of this next six weeks of Monday evening presentations. The Dance of Souls. We're seeing it as a dance. Now, dance can be both fun and romantic and an art form. Dance is one of the most extraordinary art forms. And this dance that our souls do with each other, with one another, as we enter this existence. is perhaps the most extraordinary thing when one actually meets another human being who is manifested on this planet, and we're attracted for whatever reason. Sometimes the reason is you're my child, or you're my mom or dad. That's a reason. Or it's a sweetheart, or it's going inside and looking at how we actually relate to ourselves. Because one of the things we've done over the decades is to cover up, to put on a mask, to cover up that which we don't want to share with others. So this is very much about that. Why do we create a mask? Why do we put a front out to the world that we think is more acceptable than who we truly, really are? And what's it going to take to truly unveil ourselves and emerge as these majestic, shining, extraordinary creatures that we are, these human beings?
Yes, that's it. And what we want to do is go over a bit of the trust frequency, some key aspects of the trust frequency that are foundational to this process and understanding this dance of souls, this dance that shows us our light, the parts of ourselves we love, and also our shadow, those parts of ourselves we don't love, and that we have put those masks on because we don't want anyone to see those parts we're ashamed of that aren't good enough and all that. So we've constructed a personality to show the world that we're okay, when in fact underneath that we have some self-doubt and self-hatred, self-effacing beliefs. So what we want to do is go over our definition of humanity. And what we ask for this process is that one takes these as absolutely true, okay, for this exercise. And this definition of humanity is that we are a collection of divine, autonomous, sovereign beings who have chosen to incarnate on earth with a gift and a purpose on our soul's journey to wholeness. I'll repeat that. On our soul's journey to wholeness. And that journey to wholeness is our journey to self-love and self-acceptance and alignment with our divinity, so that we can bring our true gift to the party of life, which is us, all of us, not just the parts we think people are going to like, but all those parts that we don't love yet, because all of creation is awaiting the gift we promised to bring to the party, which is us. So it's a big deal. Excuse me. It's a big deal. It's a big job. And what it's important to know is it's the job we came here to do. It's the biggest job of all. And that is the journey to self-love and self-acceptance. In alignment with our divinity, so that we can say, yes, I am here. You take all of me. I am a roving sensory organ of the divine. And the divine is evolving through me, through my process. The collective is evolving, and we are evolving. And this is our job. It's nothing to be ashamed of. It's the job we came here to do. So we're going to take you on this journey over the next several weeks. And Wowza is going to take you on a journey into our bodies. And so the other assumptions that we ask you to take as absolutely true is that it is a conscious, loving universe. There is only love. That's a big deal. That's a big pill to swallow. And what we say in our second assumption that resolves that paradox between, okay, What do you mean? How can all the horrible things that have happened to me and all the horrible things in the world be love? Well, what we say is that love is unconditional. It gives us everything we ask for. So we remember our overarching act of free will. When we came to the planet, we said, yes, conscious, loving universe, you can take me on my journey to wholeness, to self-love. I don't love certain parts of myself yet. I'm going to planet Earth to learn to love those parts of myself. So the conscious, loving universe has permission and our overarching act of free will. And then we understand that everything in our life happens for us, not to us. We move from victim to beneficiary. So it's a big leap and it's a big job because of our life process in the victim perpetrator level of thinking, level of consciousness. So this is all about moving to a higher level of consciousness, to an eagle's perspective, the bird's eye view of looking down and saying, oh, that's what it was all about. And I can be thankful to those people I used to call my perpetrators. So those are two of the major assumptions we ask you to take on, along with the definition of humanity. And then we have the assumption about what are our requests to the conscious, loving universe. And we have the 7 aspects of consciousness that are our requests, because our consciousness is key. Do you want to say anything about that? About consciousness, about our place in it all with our consciousness?
Well, firstly, the overarching situation here is that everything we are talking about is an aspect of a process toward conscious evolution. And I know that some of you out there, especially those of you who studied with or knew Barbara Marx Hubbard, our beloved friend who lived here with us at Sunrise Ranch, who is now in the spirit world, probably right here. Barbara, where are you? She's right here somewhere. So conscious evolution, this is where humans, for the first time in known history, are now coming to understand that we're not complete, that we're actually, we're in process. So as our evolution becomes conscious, this actually, while it's an incredibly inspiring idea, it's also kind of challenging, because what on earth does that mean? What does it mean that I am evolving? What does it mean that I'm doing that consciously? So, and now to really bring it into this presentation right now, what does it mean if we're doing this in our relationships, our interpersonal relationships? What is the purpose of those people who enter our lives and perhaps challenge us? The kinds of people would say, please get out of my life. I don't need you. I don't want you. We do that all the time, don't we? Just think about romantic relationships. How many times do we meet someone and they're straight from heaven? We absolutely adore them. They're 100% perfect. There's nothing they could ever do that wouldn't be completely extraordinarily amazing, until 5 years later or 7 years later, and you're in the midst of a knockdown fight and an argument about some trivial thing. What's going on? Well, we come here partly to challenge one another, to hold up mirrors, to reflect, as Connie just said, those aspects of ourselves perhaps that we do not yet love. In other words, I meet you, you beautiful, gorgeous being, and I put on my best front, and I'm perfect. Ha ha, good luck. So there's a process there. And if you put that in the context, if you see that from the perspective of conscious evolution, and you know that this entire universe consists entirely of love, that we are love. We ourselves consist entirely of love, and love in our concept is not that romantic love or how I feel about my grandchildren. It's not that. Love is the foundational, fundamental, primordial energy that creates and sustains the entire universe. It's actually a quantum energy. All right. So once we know that, once we grok that, once we understand that deeply within our souls, we have an opportunity to repurpose or rethink the way we see reality. And all of those things that we were trained as little people, we came into this world and we were taught that, oh, as Wowzer says over and over again, you've got to sit nice and straight and be quiet and don't disturb the adults, or whatever that is. Or those neighbors over there, the ones with a different skin color, they're dangerous, look out for them. And if somebody tells you that when you're 2 years old, you remember that subconsciously all your life, and you could be 50 or 60 or 70 years old, and you're still acting from an unconscious, subconscious assumption about something that somebody told you a long time ago that's not true. That's the whole point of this work, is that's why we subtitled the book 10 Assumptions for a New Paradigm. 10 alternative beliefs that truly, just 10, change absolutely everything in the way it is.
Yeah, beautiful. And what we have to understand is that our soul actually asks for that behavior in the other. So we are actually magnetizing behaviors from other people so that we can get this job done and see our shadow, see our light, but see our shadow, those parts we're hiding behind our defense mechanisms that makes the other person bad and wrong so that we can escape looking at ourselves. So it's a deep, challenging process. And what I'd like to do is read a Facebook post that a friend put on a Facebook right before we did a workshop back in February. And she did it actually on the day, and she didn't know anything about the course, but she expresses the whole process so beautifully. And here, I'll read it. Feeling I have not been in right relationships with many over these last few years. Family, community, sisters and brothers, lack of communication, dropping off commitments, saying yes when it's a no, passive-aggressive tendencies, projections, and much more. I am receiving this awareness in little bits and pieces that this way of being is mirroring my relationship with myself. I have been out of integrity with my needs, wants, and desires. I give up on myself when things get tough. I lose myself in what others think, highly influenced by environment and others' needs, wants, desires. And I distract myself with what others are doing. This is one of my sacred wounds, not knowing or remembering what my divine mission is or how to express it in the world, and really allowing the feeling of fear to inhibit expressing my true essence. And I am shifting and repatterning this now, all caps. My deepest apologies if you have experienced this with me. I am committed to taking responsibility for my actions and inactions through reflection, integration, compassion, fierce expression, and deep self-love. Thank you for your love and care while I navigate this terrain of self-awareness, self-love, and being in coherence with my divine mission and sacred purpose. Together we rise, loving you, me, and humanity. Adara love. So there, such a beautiful expression of this journey to self-love. that's so important. And that's what our gift is to you with this process.
And that message actually is from a beautiful young woman who calls herself Adara Love, lives in Boulder, Colorado. We know her quite well. And you would never suspect what was going on inside that beautiful, beautiful being. So what an expose, a self-expose of somebody we know and love to bring out that. So see what's going on here. We put up these fronts, we put up these beautiful masks, we dress up, we put on our makeup and our finery, and we go out into the world and everybody looks at us and they say, oh, look at them, they're amazing. They're much better than I am because look at them, they're amazing. And they're dressed in such a wonderful way or whatever it is. And yet within and behind and under are so many, what do we call them, sabotaging beliefs. One of the most powerful ones of which is, I am not good enough. So that's what this work is about. So we are now integrating the trust frequency worldview that we introduced and presented and spoke about for these last 14 weeks. And tonight we're moving into the dance of souls, which is that relationship, that interactive situation between ourselves and others, and ourselves and our deepest hidden personal selves. And then Wowza is going to take this embodiment of the trust frequency into the dance of souls and embody that. So now we're going deeper and deeper and deeper, and it gets to be more and more fun.
And challenging. And we'll just say that we do have a course online called The Dance of Souls, and it's on Social Chrysalis, a Barbara Marx Hubbard inspired platform for conscious evolution in action. So one can go to socialchrysalis.com.
Is it .com or .org?
.com.
Good.
The Dance of Souls, hyphenated. And you can take our course and really immerse yourself in this course. And Wowza has a wrap-up portion of the course. So have a look at the course. And now I think we'll just go on to Wowza. So let's spotlight Wowza.
Are we ready for, okay, are we ready for Wowza? Do we dare? I mean, folks, this is as outrageously exciting as it gets. So I'm going to unspotlight us, cancel the spotlight. We're going to spotlight.
There she is.
There she is. I believe we've got you. I'm just going to really got you. There we are. Hello, Wowza.
Hi. I know it's just so exciting, isn't it? I mean, to come into a relationship in this whole new way. And we were talking earlier, I mean, there's a kind of real intimacy on this Zoom and a sense of gratefulness that we have this opportunity. And no matter hell and high water, the universe is also bringing us tools, technology, to make it possible no matter what's happening. And I think that's a really incredible message, that we can achieve this connection now in this way. Oh, but I'd like to start, because it's so close to my mind. Yesterday, I worked with a woman who was, again, one of these beautiful women. I mean, she said from the time she was a little girl, her mother had her wear, put the book on top of her head. She had to walk every time. She was like 6 years old, walking around with this book on her head, that she would be elegant and she would be refined and she'd marry the rich man. Her mother really had a lot of good things for her. And she came to me and she said, yeah, I know I've got all this stuff going for me, but something? I have no real relationships. Nobody, I just can't connect. I mean, people see me and it's almost like, they get self-conscious, and it's just driving me crazy. I want relationship. And I said, I'd like to demonstrate something for you and get your feedback. I'm going to run through a couple of body language things and see what you feel. And of course, I took on her body language. And I began to talk and walk. And I said, by the way, how would you, do you feel this person is approachable? And she goes immediately, of course not. And it just brought home that we can create these masks and these, these personality types, right? And not know anymore that that's actually happening. They become so familiar. And it was so cool, to be able to say, come on, let's really play her. It's not to judge her. There's, you have stature, you have regality, it has its place. Let's really play her so you get to know how unapproachable that look is. And who knows? What would it be like to see that, to see me? And I'd like you to imagine, that I have just the most beautiful surprise for you. I don't even remember what I engaged her in at that moment, but friendly. You're wanting to connect with me. And also opening up that beautiful, conscious, loving, that she really is in a conscious, loving universe. And there is a part of her that is beyond loving. And there was just all of a sudden when she really could actually play the role with respect. That was her survival. That was her training. And to, okay, that's a part of my repertoire. She'll be coming back. But now, as I move into that, wow, maybe there is a loving being in me, that just wants to shine and actually take a little extra moment in people's eyes. And to see that, and that each person that comes to me is another facet of a missing multi-dimensional dimension of my very being. And it would behoove me to pay a little more attention. What is this vibration? Oh, that's different. Her quality is different. Let me kind of play with that. And it's a kind of sketching and tracing. It's not so much mirroring. It's just that you are seeing a facet in every person you meet, an actual facet of your own hidden dimensions of self. And that was revolutionary for her, Wow. And as soon as I could see her eyes opening in that almost childlike wonderment, I loved her. Who would not love this woman? And of course, coming back to myself, again, classic story of, lots of dissension with mother and father, the father, the raging bull, miserable, gave up a whole dance career. The mother, always trying to keep the peace with the raging bull, doing anything to kind of do that. And I was watching all this. And with no ability to express my feelings, the skin diseases, cross eyes, physical, emotional abuse, the whole 9 yards, obviously set a tone for my life that I wasn't enough for the man that I love, my father. Oh, if I'd only known how that affected future relationships. And what began to unravel that a little bit was again of connecting to something way too much to talk about now, but connecting to a larger power that for circumstances, thank you very much, universe, came. We got to do something for this girl. And they just, you know, all of a sudden, the emotions, the elemental energies of the universe came flooding through my body. And I went, what is this? What's going on here? And I remember, you know, like opening, let me go into this. I realized as I began to look at how I inhibited myself, and what was that? When I started to even, you know, in the mirror, and once someone was photographing me, I saw those eyes, the chin coming down, and the eyes looking up for approval. Oh. And so that was like the first key. And every time, you know, going out in the party, whatever it was, as soon as I felt that chin and those eyes, you know, looking up, you know, please like me. I need your approval. I need your love. I don't know who I am and what I am without that. And of course, you can see what happens in terms of power games. As soon as somebody gets an inkling, it just begs somebody attracting, going, whoa, I've got you. Boom, 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 boom. And you're going, oh. How many times have we seen that? The subservient, dominant, the predator, you know, whatever, all these dichotomies of dissension, of divisiveness, not interplaying, but again, power plays, power games, over and under, and then the under trying to get over the over and the all. It's endless. It's endless. All of the frustrations, all of the anxieties, I feel come through this divisiveness of separation from our deepest self, this conscious, universal loving being that we are. And it's like the pain of that, to feel so much love in our hearts, and this, the physiology takes on these beliefs. Oh, she's not worthy. Oh, well, then obviously we got to protect her heart. So we'll cave it in a little. Oh, she needs a little protection. Well, we'll round her shoulders around her heart. That's good. And then, you know, put on a sweet smile. Daddy likes nice, lovely girl. Oh, hi. Everything's fine. Now, you can always tell a social role or these personality types. One thing, really good. They don't breathe. Shallow breathing runs the show. See, nice, sweet, and they can be really fool a lot of people, but I'm holding my breath. I'm holding my breath. Right? Oh. And for our short time together, one of the things was just the intention that there is this universal loving being inside. And there is this little wounded child. I mean, this, you know, this girl, this woman that, where these beliefs have so shaped. And here then I began to create a whole body of work where I was modeling different people's behavior. They were taught, be cool. What are you getting so excited about? And so, you know, cool. you know, everything's cool. I don't know, whatever you say, you know, it's cool. Don't worry, you know, don't sweat it. I mean, can live their whole lives dampening all emotions in a vibration of cool, and wonder why they age the way they do, why there's no circulation sufficient to keep the body mobile, flexible, and adaptable. Oh, it's enough to break your heart. And that's wrong. You know, just another guy we got last week, Buck was his name, of all names, Buck. I mean, you know, she sent me here, you know, because she says I don't express feelings to her. I mean, what is all that about? I'm a man. You know, and it came, you know, that he was indoctrinated, and that's what women like. Like, man, again, you know, all that sissy stuff. And it was like, oh. And so we started, you know, to playing where I just had him, you know, every once in a while. Do you really care about what your wife feels? He said, of course. And I said, well, maybe when she speaks and she's sharing her feelings, you don't have to do anything. Just one thing. Just once in a while, look in her eyes and just go, I hear you. You don't have to grieve, you don't have to do anything. You just have to see her. You just have to see just that simple little thing was revolutionary for him. And it can be very simple. And so there's a couple of things I'd like to offer at this end that has helped a lot of people that I've worked with. Is if you can go do it in a mirror, it's great if you can use your camera, you know, or somebody to just shoot you, but just how you say your name. You know, hi, I'm Elisa Lodge. You know, hi, I'm Elisa Lodge. There's those eyes. There's that little tilt, you know, for you, John Smith. You know, it could be you were told to act smart. I mean, expressionless. Hold it together. That's it. I mean, I could go on and on with this. And see, as an actor, when you take on these roles, guess what? You start to think like the role. It's not just a look. It's not just the body. It affects the emotions. How much, how little. It affects the thinking. Narrow-minded as opposed to broad-minded, nearsighted, far-sighted to whole-sighted. And this process of catching yourself with the deepest love, oh my God, oh my God, oh, there she is, there's you. Hi, this is mine. You know, to just be with her, play with her. That was the best she could do. And who's playing with her? The big self. No matter if you don't know anything that's just still so farfalutin, you can't relate to it, forget it. Just intend that there is a beautiful, loving self in there that goes, oh my gosh, beautiful little child. Oh, do you realize that you are unique in all the world, and I get to hang out with you. I get to feel and be in your unique sphere of awareness and your unique lifestyle and all the things you've gone through. It's my privilege to love you just as you are. And oh gosh, And what happens in that, you get a double whammy, because all of a sudden that voice that you just intended to be your big self is actually starting to feel kind of good. And that little self, and another beautiful one in that, we're missing contact now. We're missing touch. And again, doing something like hugging yourself. I mean, oh, please, see, there's another social role, right? It's like, you gotta be kidding, hugging myself. And I say, yes, as a big, loving self. Oh, shoulders, I welcome you to the party. Mind, what would I do without you? Come on, baby. We're all in this together, and to welcome all your parts. And there's woundings. We know that we got, the scars, the bangings, and all of the stuff that we've gone through. Oh, little scar. Look at you, what you went through with that. And it heals. It heals. Look, it healed. That's what I'm seeing.
Yay.
Yay.
Yay. Thank you. Wowza. What a gift you are to this
Oh,
process.
gosh, thank you. I needed that.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
That was the best yet.
There's somebody home inside, no matter what. It's
Yeah.
of intending for that part to truly be with us come hell and high water.
Yeah.
Yes, I wanted to say something just to our audience out there, our friends here on Zoom and friends on Facebook Live. And it is this, this work, obviously, and everything Wowza has just acted out for us so beautifully here, is about transformation, which in its simplest interpretation means change. So this huge question comes up: am I open to change? Because we've locked ourselves in, most of us, into a certain personality, a certain way of responding, a certain way of thinking about ourselves. It's called our worldview, or the paradigm we experience life through. And so are we open in any sense to dropping that, to really looking at our fundamental beliefs about reality, about ourselves, about the universe, about God, however you want to express it, and just letting it go and let something new unfold? Just because the old one, okay, it served us in some way up until now.
Absolutely.
It served
us. It got us this far. We survived.
It was a survival mechanism. And that's the point. A lot of what we do is because most of us have a survival mechanism. If I want daddy to approve of me, I'm pretty sure I know what to do and what not to do. Don't throw a bucket of soup at daddy. You're going to be in big trouble, right? So are we comfortable with change? Do we dare to change? I think it's potentially scary, in the sense that if I change, well, part of what I'm doing is I'm taking down the mask and I'm emerging as the real Andrew, the real Connie, the real Wowza, whoever we are. And is that shining, majestic being actually ready to come out, to emerge from that chrysalis that has been hiding within for all of our lives to date? So that's the big question I'd like us to, we'll address this next week very specifically about, firstly, the question, are we open to change? And secondly, if so, what does that mean? Do we dare?
So we've given these few assumptions about the nature of the universe that we're asking that for this exercise be taken as absolutely true. So that's an exercise unto itself that we would ask you to do during this next week, is to think about absolutes. Can one take something as absolutely true and have no ifs, buts, but could, whatevers and whoever's, because it's those ifs and buts and stuff that take us down in our frequency. If we can go into trust, into total trust, without any doubt, we go into a higher frequency where the laws are expanded that apply to us. So this is a whole nother aspect of our trust frequency work. And we suggest that you get our book, The Trust frequency, 10 assumptions for a new paradigm, and really pursue the whole construct on the nature of the universe. But meanwhile, be thinking about, number one, taking something, these ideas that we've presented as absolutes for the process, and then to see how open to change we are for letting go of old stories that have served us very well. The victim position is a very powerful position, and we've used it to the hilt now in this paradigm of victim perpetrator. But guess what? That paradigm is over, because we're coming to understand the loving nature of the universe, the interconnected nature of the universe, our role in it, and how everything happens for us, not to us, in our life journey to wholeness. So we will just ask you to ponder those things over the next week, and we'll be back with more for the understanding of the dance of souls.
And here's Shelley. Hello, Shelley. Welcome back.
So I guess we're just about, our time is up, so we'll jump off of Facebook
Wow, so
Live.
thank you. That was the most amazing yet, and it's always amazing. Shelley, wait for you to see what wow, so just go through. Wow.
So,
wow.
So we suggest you go back to our prior trust frequency embodied on the good of the whole. You can see them on Facebook Live archives, or I've put a link to our prior recordings up in the description, the Facebook description, and it'll be on the YouTube channel description as well.
Yeah. So, and we love you. We'll see you next week.
Thank you very much. Much love. And thanks to the Good of the Whole for hosting us.
Yes.
Doing all the incredible
Seriously.
work Good of the Whole does for humanity. And the good of the whole.
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 Yes. So there we go.
I just stopped the live stream.
Okay.
So here we are.